Hello everyone, I'm Juju Blue, and you can call me Blue. I am going to be doing something I had stuck in my head forever now. I am going to be drawing CookieRunner Cookie Kingdom cookies as humans! I love the game, and it generally makes me happy. It is not sponsored or anything. I'm not even good enough to be sponsored. I am drawing these cookies because of inspiration from another content creator named Ginger Ninja. She likes drawing other things as humans, and she generally inspired me to draw CookieRunner Cookie Kingdom cookies as humans. They're human-shaped. Why wouldn't I draw them as humans? But instead of doing the random gotcha like she did, I'm actually going to be drawing the first team we are given, which is of Ginger Brave, Chili Pepper Cookie, Wizard Cookie, and Strawberry Cookie. Some of my favorite designs are from Wizard Cookie and Strawberry Cookie. They're very happy to me, and it makes me very happy to share this with you. Disclaimer, I am not good at digital art. I'm better on actual paper. I love drawing, and if you don't like my art, no one asked you to watch it. Anyways, on to the rest of the video. I hope you enjoy, as the first cookie we're drawing is Chili Pepper Cookie. Chili Pepper Cookie is the first epic cookie we get in the game. She has this red kind of style to her, and this kind of feathery with leather look to her. I wanted to incorporate this by giving her a metal punk style. And I know that she is a thief and runs, so I wanted her to give this impression that she has powerful legs. So her legs might look muscly here. I also wanted her to have this pose that would show her having this motive of trickery. And I also wanted to incorporate that in her face as well. But I will admit, when my first design for this, I did not like it. Her pose seemed off to me. It didn't feel natural, and I feel like her posture and everything was just off somehow. I felt like I made one of the hands too big as well. You can see me struggling to make this pose during the sketch, and it's kind of hard to look at now as I'm going over it. But I tried to push through it, see if I can make it better, you see? But I just ended up redoing the whole thing. I just thought of this as a kind of concept sketch. My second design I liked a lot more. So with her pushing through this, I gave her this scarf. Because in her original design, she does in fact have a scarf. Not the collar, though. I removed the collar later on, don't worry, I also didn't like it. But I did know that I liked the idea of her having this big spiky hair tie. And these little spike pins in her hair. I thought that would be really cool looking to have in there. I also liked how she has this cheeky little grin going on. I thought that really gave out the good impression. Now here you can see me trying to do her hair. I want her to have fluffy hair, but in this first design, I thought it looked messy and not coordinatedly and quite honestly plain. You can also see me making her concept of her outfit. I wanted her to have this cropped leather jacket, and I thought that was a really cool design to have with her. But I felt like it looked bulky and it didn't really fit the design of the character. She is a roguelike character after all. She needed to have beautiful roguelike features, and she just looked stiff and not flexible. She goes in the air and attacks people from the back. So I really was disappointed with this design, but I did not give it away. I worked with it in the second one. Experimented. I loved the fact that I gave her pants these belts. It really helped the plainness, but it still looked plain. I also didn't realize that I made one of the cuffs on the jacket smaller than the other. It bothered me to the point. And you can see me making her hair all messy now. As you can see, she looks awkward stiff. She kind of looks like a man. Now that I'm looking at it, she looks like a man. And you can also see me ruining one of those boots. I did not end up keeping the boots, even though I really wanted to keep the boots. I just wasn't at the capabilities when I draw this being able to keep the boots. And that's how I was able to make the first design of CookieRunner Cookie Kingdom's cookie, chili pepper cookie. She still gave me the feeling of she wasn't there, but she gave me the idea. And that's what I want her to have. I want her to have this cool idea that she really has it in there for her. That she's going to have something. But her posture just wasn't doing it for me. And everything looked so bulky. It made me so upset that I just ended up stop drawing for a minute and just start over from scratch. It happens sometimes. And sometimes you end up with something better or something worse. All you gotta do is push through it. So to fix the stiffness, I went with a different body shape. I went with a thicker, more curvy body shape, but still implying that she has strong legs and strong arms, by making sure that they emphasize her legs and arms, keeping the same pose and giving her a nicer jacket that fits her body more to make it less stiff. I also changed the skull from her scarf to her shirt from like the original design. I actually did not check out it to see if that was in her original design or not. You can also see me making a different copy of her design by giving this sort of color coding kind of texture to it. I did this so I can easily see the detail I put in when I'm sketching. And the long pause you see here is me actually trying to figure out what to do with her skin color. I wanted to test out blending for this. After all, I'm not good at digital art, unfortunately. So many of these you can see me experimenting. That's why you see these long pauses right here. But with her skin color, I wanted it to be on the darker shade, like a tan instead of a white. I also wanted to give her these puffy pants because I thought that'd be fun. And this half-curve corset with a belt strapped around it. You can also see that I changed her shoes to have a little strap belt to it, as well as added these belts kind of things hanging from her arms, from her shoulders. I thought this would give it a lot more detail and make it less plain. You can also see me thinking about what I should do with her palette. You can see a lot of brunettes, browns, scarlets, reds. I used all of these, and I also used bone white for her spikes. She kind of reminded me of a cactus after all of this. I also wanted to try out the blending right here to see if that would give her more dimension on her face. It actually kind of worked. It might not look perfect, but it worked. And that's what matters. And I like her design. I like how she's a bit on the chunkier side. She made me happy. Who would have thought that a rogue could be chubby? Me. That's who. Anyways, I wanted her to also have this kind of elegance to her with her big fluffy hair. This hair design you see here was only a sketch. It's not the final design, unfortunately. I made her hair a lot more curly and fluffy, like yours truly. But I also really like the fact that of this blending idea, and I also used it to give it more depth to her neck. It kind of looked weird at the end, but you can't win them all, people, unfortunately. But it also gave out me to experiment more with darker and lighter colors and blending these into different parts of her body. It also gave me the challenge of what I'm going to do with her hands. As I said before, not good with hands. Hands are the bane of my existence. Look it up. Eyes and hands are the hardest thing to draw. Anyways, I also kept her unibrow because I thought that this was a very good main focal point of her design. She's one of the few cookies I know that have a unibrow, and I wanted to keep this in her design. I also did make her bandana / scarf bright red, and you can also see me adding these spikes everywhere.
I added them to her jacket inspired by Ghost Rider, one of my favorite Marvel heroes. Well, technically, anti-villain. Anyways, I also added spikes everywhere I could, and to make it even less plain, I added these detailed lines and stitches to it. I also added this amazing crossbone skull, which I'm still proud of to this day because it looks fantastic. I also made sure to make more depth to these belts by making the cross line stitching on there as well, and to make her pants seem less bulky and plain. I also added these line stitches to her pants as well. I also decided to blend her hair with lights and darks. It kind of made it look messy, but it also kind of worked once I added the lining to it. It made it perfect to me. And then you can also see me changing the buckles from her shoes to spike buckles, which actually helped the design a lot.
The next cookie we'll be doing is Wizard Cookie, one of my personal favorites. He looks like a tiny Merlin to me, with a better hat. Anyways, I want him to be long, lanky, and stickbug. Stickbug-like. I love how I've done the body shape, or how I was trying to go with it. He looked very stick-like, but it was not the pose I was thinking of. He looked out of place somehow, even without any of the excess things. I love art. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes it wants me to put myself through fire, and sometimes that fire gives me burnout. I had to think for a day with this. And I just felt so angry that I couldn't figure out how to get this darn body shape in there. It got to the point where I had to stop myself before I just made it worse. Anyways, this long pause you see here is that thinking process. The thinking process that takes me forever. 'Cause it killed me. I love art, don't get me wrong. And then I finally started to think of ways to make it better. I started trying to tamper with the legs because I thought his legs looked too short to emphasize he was tall. I also tried to give him a different pose that would make it better, and just gave him that long torso to imply that he is long and lengthy. You can also see my sketch line of a giant hat. This is why I wanted the better hat and this long, glorious coat. Like I said, he looks like a tiny Merlin to me. And some of the things that you see in the game, he has this satchel. I don't know what he carries in this satchel. It just makes me think keep it coordinated to it. And I added him a satchel. I also tried to keep the candy that it was in the game, but I changed this later on to just a normal stone. But I like the fact that I put stars on it. And I didn't know what I was doing with the star. I just think I was so tired and fed up with this design that I just wanted to get through it and see if my process was right. To go with his waffle cone of a hat, I made his waffle cone into his sweater. I gave him a sweater. I also put a bunch of stars all over this robe. And honestly, I'm going to tell you this. I thought he was looking like he was wearing pajamas. I didn't like this. He's a sophisticated wizard. He deserves better. And it broke me to think that this design, I could not make the long cloak work. So I actually had to scrap that later on. I know, it broke me too. I was so sad about it. I tried going with this pale yellows and blues, giving that ominous look before I realized that it looked like pajamas. I'm never going to live down the fact that I just couldn't solve it. I wanted that long cloak for so long. I tried, people. I really did. But this is getting very repetitive and very painful for me to watch. The hat didn't look like it belonged to Wizard Cookie. The star didn't match any of the other stars, and I'm actually quite upset with the stars. It made me very upset. But you can see here, I have me trying to blend it, make it work, trying to make it beautiful and less pajama-like. You can see I failed. Anyways, then I realized at this point that this cloak is not going to work and that I'm just going to have to go through it and just try again. Unfortunately, it hurt me so much. So on the second take of Wizard Cookie, I decided to scrap it being a mythical theme to it. So I changed this cloak into a cardigan. But I still kept the waffle cone sweater. And as you can see, I did try going back to the cloak a minute there, but I just gave up and changed it to the cardigan because cardigans are cute. They're really cute. And he's a cute character. He is bubbly and tries to be so strict. But I wanted this to be perfect. He's one of my favorite characters. He's Little Merlin. And I made his hat have these stars instead of just having this rim of stars and having a red crystal right in the middle. I thought that could really work. And it kind of did. But instead of just having his cloak just be covered in stars and make it look childish, I made it so it's just his hat. Like, he found the hat and became Wizard Cookie, right? So, why couldn't it just be this cool little star hat? I also gave him these really cute star buttons on his cardigan that I really love. And also put patches on his cardigan. And I thought that was amazing and such a good move on my part. I wanted to look like this cardigan went through years of training and lightning. As you can see on the bottom of his pants, I tried to do this lightning design. I did not go through with this design. This design did not fit and I didn't like it. As you can see of me adding a little satchel there, I almost forgot about it. I did take a day off of just trying to collect my artistic motive because, again, I was so upset from the original design. But this one I actually quite love. It came out so delightful. I also rounded out the stars because I thought it would give him a softer look because he tries to be strict, but he fails. He acts so cute to me. I also gave this staff a more wooden look instead of the toothpick he carries. And as you can see, I changed the candy into a stone later on because I didn't like the look of the candy. And because of this, I kept adding these stars and this little glow to the stone. And as you can see me putting the colors in, I was just putting the original colors I had before, blues, yellows, and this tan color for the cone parts of his thing, and this satchel-looking brown that I thought was good enough. I know, I was lazy. I could have gotten a better color, but it was just... the original design just put me so down. I also looked at some of his design in the actual game, and he actually has really light blue eyes. And I thought this was adorable. Then you can see me just softening up the lines with just going over with colors that are similar and all of that. It actually softened out the design quite a bit. And I thought this actually fit it so well. It was really hard to just keep the lines though because, again, I didn't realize how many layers I actually put. And I couldn't find the one with the hat. So I had to just try my best and get it over with because the star on the edge of his head's on a different layer and I just couldn't find it for the life of me. And I realized I was just being lazy with the satchel and gave it more coloration to it. And that's where I found out that I had a couple layers on the wrong layers. I didn't know I accidentally moved my satchel, so I just decided to just go over it. And call it a day. That's what you do with life, people. And then I just put these stitches all over it. And I thought that really put it all together. And of course, the staff was the most troublesome. I wanted it to still look like wood. I wanted it to have that wood feel. I just suck at doing wood details. It's rather it looks too samey or it doesn't look too wild. Not wild enough. It's just so hard to do wood textures nowadays. But I also, to just add more a little contrast, I gave him these orange Converse because I thought it'd be cute. It kind of fits his whole ordeal, and as you can see, I've just been shading, getting those details in, trying to see what will work and what will not. I actually really love how this design. The next cookie I was doing is Strawberry Cookie, the cutest cookie ever. I wanted her to look as shy and as sweet and as adorable as possible. So I went strawberry hoodie. I know she already has a strawberry hoodie, but I gave her an even cuter strawberry hoodie. I wanted her eyes to look soft and adorable. But I still wanted her to feel like she's a heavy hitter, you know? So I gave her this metal little patch that you would wear around your chest area. I don't know how it's effective, but I see it in animes, so thought it would be good to add on. I also changed her lollipop into a mace. Because if I'm going to change Wizard Cookie's little candy into a gemstone, I might as well change the giant lollipop into a mace. With a little strawberry at the end. I want her look to be as cutesy and as frilly as possible, but she would still look like she can beat you up. That's why I made her a bit bigger. One of my bigger characters. And I love that. It looks like she gives the greatest hugs. I also gave her this little strawberry pin and this little strawberry accessory on her hoodie. And this I just put strawberries everywhere. And then frills. I wanted her to have this cute little calm personality to her. You know, like you can whisper to her your secrets and she won't say anything because she's too terrified to say anything back. In her thing, she's shy because she's artificial strawberries. And I thought, and everyone still loves her because she smells like strawberries. And I'm just like, aww. And that's what I love about Strawberry Cookie. Not the fact that she is actually a pretty decent tank early on. But the fact that she's sweet and doesn't know that everyone just loves her. And that's a bit sad. I wanted her to feel like she was going to give you hugs, but is too shy to admit it. And I think I actually succeeded with this design. As you can see from this very long pause, I'm actually trying to think of what I want the lace to be colored. I didn't know if I wanted to go with a more yellowish off-white or just pure white. But the pure white didn't look good, so I didn't think it would look good. But I went with the paler yellow. Spoiler. Anyways, I wanted her to be so freed, so comfy looking, and just hiding in her hoodie. I actually based this picture off of the cover of Turtle Boy. I never read the book, but I seen the cover and I thought it looked almost like Strawberry Cookie. And I love that about her. I gave her freckles, and I love it. I also gave this mace. I still wanted to represent her lollipop, so I gave it a candy cane look to it. Of course, I gave the soft pink, and yeah, she's very brown, but she looks so soft and so sweet that I just didn't care at this point. Brown hair and brown eyes it is. Too many characters have odd colored features anyways. And I just went with this cute accessories, scrapped the idea about having the lace be like normal lace colors and went with this pink white. And it's so cute, and her green Converse actually pulls it all together. It made me so happy.
But I also was really confused about how I wanted this all to come together and make her look sweet. Because I did this cookie a lot later than the other two, I forgot that to make them look softer, I needed to outline them. So I actually logged off for a bit, and I thought she looked off-putting to next to the rest, and then I remembered. I forgot to change the lining. And that is when I just went over all of it, not even thinking about layers, and just went with the lining and just did my best. I couldn't cover the freckles completely because they were too small, but I was able to figure out that I had the wrong layers, and look at this sweetie pie. Come on.
The last cookie of the team is Ginger Brave, and I gotta tell you, this cookie gave me so much trouble that I literally in the middle of it scrapped the whole thing and redid it. I didn't have much to work with. He's literally the classical gingerbread. He had one single hair of frosting, and I had to work with that. So I only knew that he had some sort of curl hair, and somehow, looking at closer into his thing, I didn't realize that his frosting details, they're skulls. I'm like, isn't he the hero of this game? Why does he have skull buttons? And I'm just like, you know what? Kind of fitting. It's cool. It was so crazy to find that out about this character, but it was so annoying to draw him. I literally had a blank piece of cardboard to work with. Blank and nothing. But I pushed through it and actually made a pretty cool character. I wanted to still incorporate his main weapon, which is a literal piece of candy cane, by giving him candy cane colored socks. I'm a person that loves weird socks, so I actually quite loved this. I also gave his shirt these skull buttons like his original design because I thought it'd be fitting. And it was. It was incredibly fitting. But, of course, all good things can never last. Because when I figured out that he looked like he was jumping with standing, I realized that I would need to just grind my teeth and do it all over again. It wasn't fun, people. It was not fun. Because I loved what I was doing with this character. But I'd gone so far that I couldn't just fix the pose. So I had to redo all of it. And it kind of worked in the end. He kind of looks like a child, but he acts like a child in the original game. So it kind of fits. As you can see here, this is me just redoing everything, just trying to get that place. I kind of missed the big eyes, but I couldn't redraw them for some reason, so I just went with the smoother little pose. I gave him this leaning pose, and don't ask me why he has two sweaters on. It's just how it is. I don't know how he can walk around with no clothes but frosting over his body. It kind of impresses me, but not that much. I get hypothermia. I also gave him this cute little hat because I could. It wasn't any part of his design or anything. I just liked the fact that he could have a hat. I also gave him this little cute candy cane necklace that I thought fit him so well. He's also the character to have all sorts of mischief in his eyes. I thought he was actually a villain at first, and then I realized he was a hero. Sorry, people, but who gives a hero angry eyes in the middle of a thing? I also didn't realize that he sounded like Finn from Adventure Time. Anyone remember that? It was quite interesting because he sounded exactly like Finn. But as you can see from the final design, this was just the whole mock-up. And then I just went in with the coloring that was originally in there. You can see on his shoes that I actually added those cute little skulls I had on there. And a peppermint detail on it. I thought it looked cute. And it kind of fit everything together. Don't mind that it looks kind of crazy. It's just how I liked it. And I think it looked beautiful. Just don't bother with the hair. I tried, people. The hair could be better. Maybe I might do a redraw of these one day. Maybe. But I think he looks cute. And I like the design. It fits him perfectly. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed all my designs. I know it was a pretty long video, but if you stayed this long, I appreciate you a lot. I hope you have a wonderful day. Blue out.